Yo, welcome back to I don't even know who I am. This was going to be an interesting episode, I think. I have kind of a lot on my mind, and so it'd probably just be good to talk to you about some stuff. Some of this has been on my mind a lot, and some of it is really fresh on my mind as of the last two days. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna do the more recent stuff first because it's kind of relevant, and it all kind of does connect back to the stuff that's been on my mind for like 2 weeks that I think I've or not 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, like far back, like probably within the last 3 or 4 is when I've really been noticing it. And I've kind of teased it in other videos, figuring out like other things, but then they all just kind of connect back to this one thing. But yeah, anyways, I'm being so vague, being so weird. Sorry, there's a lot of cars around and I'm uncomfortable talking to a camera while there's cars or people that can see me. But who cares? I'm on FaceTime basically. Okay, first topic, trigger warning, I guess. Like trigger warning for like death and loss and stuff. So like, if you're not trying to hear that right now, leave. But my grandmother passed away on Sunday morning. It's now Tuesday evening, so that was about 2 days ago. It was like 2.5 days ago, but I didn't hear about it until that evening, that night, the evening, around 5 p.m. My dad texted our family group chat to let us know, and so it's been about 2 days now that I've known. And yeah, so that happened. I don't mean to be, I'm not saying this to get anyone to be like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry, Brendan. Like, I'm like, actually, like, maybe the opposite. Like, I think this is revealing something in me that's like kind of fucked up. That's gonna connect to everything else that I have to say, but it's something I'm figuring out. I haven't been very emotional about it. It did kind of stun me when it happened, because I wasn't expecting it to happen that day. I had a lot going on that day. I was also like fasted that day, and I just kind of was like already out of it, very spacey. And then that happened, and I was like didn't know how to process it, and I still haven't really processed it. And I don't know, for also, like, I should just say, like, it's not like I was the closest with her or anything either. It was just like, like, she lived across the country from me. I didn't get to see her very many times in my life, like that kind of thing. Like, a pretty positive relationship. All in all, like, she's my grandma. I love my family and stuff. But we weren't like particularly close, particularly like anything. And also for the last 5+ years, she's been so gone, like very I don't know, like, she has all of the, can't even think of what they're called, but like, dementia and other things, and she's been basically unable to walk, and she's been in a retirement home for a minute now, and stuff like that, and doesn't know who her family members are or anything. So it's like, it's been sad. And so it's kind of like one of those things where it's relieving, because she was suffering, and so it's good that she's not suffering anymore. So I'll just say that, like, it's not like tragedy that is insanely unexpected. Like, if anything, like, brings a lot, it will eventually bring peace that people aren't having to deal with, that anymore. But and yeah, and also just like from like a personal, like just from me perspective, yeah, we weren't super close ever. In fact, me and her kind of butted heads a bit. So I kind of like never knew how much she really liked me, but I know she loved me. But anyways, like, as a younger kid, I never really knew. So that's just, that's just how things go. But anyways, that happened. So really the thing that's pressing for is like my dad and how he's dealing with it, and it seems like he's dealing with it all right. But I know he's like a really an emotional person, and so I don't know. I've just been like, he's been on my mind a lot, and his sister too, who was like taking care of her pretty much. But yeah, okay, so that's what happened. That's the going ons. But that's not really what I'm trying to talk about necessarily. It's more so the way that I've been taking it, and also the grander narrative of my life right now, which is just like, so I heard the news, and like I said, I was kind of spacey and like didn't know how to process things. I didn't feel sad necessarily either. Like, I didn't feel anything. Couldn't feel an emotion. And I kind of just went on with my day, got through the end of the day, went to bed. Had a little bit of a hard time going to sleep, but like, whatever. But yeah, I didn't really feel any kind of like emotions. I kind of just took it and like put it to the side and haven't really processed it. So that is what the second thing that I'm going to talk about in this video is. I don't know how to feel emotions anymore. I think I'm realizing I am so disconnected with my emotional health, or not my emotional health, but just like my emotions in general. Like, I'm not like sensitive anymore, or at least right now I'm not, which is scary to me, honestly, because if anything that I've learned over the last 3 years of like therapy, going through therapy, and like really understanding my mental health, and like knowing what the battle is that I'm fighting, if I've learned anything, is that I am a naturally really sensitive person. And guess what? That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. It's a good thing to be sensitive. It means I can feel things strongly, good and bad. But so I don't know what's going on, but I or I do know what's going on. I'm going to get into it, but I'm not feeling anything. And I low-key haven't been feeling very much for the last 4 months, including literal grief and loss from my grandma, you know, like, or anything about, like, anything. Like, I'm just, I feel numb and I feel muted, and I feel like I'm reverting back to kind of like, I don't think I was ever, I don't know, that's why this feels very uncomfortable for me, because I've always been sensitive and very emotionally in touch, cried a lot, stuff like that. I've never been the type to like be like, oh, when's the last time you cried? Like, oh, like 6 years ago, like never, like whatever. Like, I've never been that kind of person. I've always been I've just been always incredibly emotional, which at times feels like a fault, you know? At times it feels like a nerf, like I've just been nerfed for my whole life, and it's just something I have to deal with. But again, like through therapy, I've kind of come to realize that it's kind of like, can be a good thing, and I don't know, it's kind of a blessing, and I kind of have started to look at it like that. But it's funny, like, right after I've started to look at it like that, finally changed my mind, it's when I stop feeling anything. I don't feel anything, and it freaks me out. Okay, so this all connects. This isn't going to be perfectly worded or anything, but so was in therapy for 2 years. Yeah, while I was in therapy, I kind of really learned a lot about myself, and continuously was like challenged to grow and push myself, and like emotionally like jump from one thing to another, and it was always kind of like a whirlwind, and sometimes it was really overwhelming, but it was always, no matter what, it was gratifying, because I felt like I was growing, I felt like I was getting somewhere. And then I stopped going to therapy because I graduated, and therapy became expensive after I graduated because I was using student therapy with a student therapist and stuff. And life happened, you know, like I graduated college, and with that I went traveling for a while, and then had to find a job and couldn't afford anything, and then, you know, like had to work my way up and start making money and whatever. But I've noticed since I've stopped going to therapy, like since that happened, I have also I've been slowly like been worse about feeling things and processing things, especially. I kind of I've noticed it because, like, yeah, for one thing, I can't freaking cry. But for another, like, anytime I'll like watch movies or like listen to music, or I don't know, like any other artistic medium that I like really love, I usually, or at least recently, before this all started happening, was very sensitive to it and would cry a lot and laugh and everything. And now I can't do that. I can't be emotional while listening to anything. I can't be emotional in general. I can't pray well. I can't like be in touch with myself, and it freaks me out because I think I'm just blocking everything by this like internal shield, and just being like, no, just gotta get by, and I'm freaking out because like, what is stopping? What's the thing that's doing that? Is it just me not being in the regular rhythm of therapy? You know, like, is it just me, you know, like not being in the practice of like stating how I'm feeling, because right now, if I feel like if I was in therapy, I wouldn't know how I'm feeling. I wouldn't know how to connect. I wouldn't know how to do anything. I feel like I've turned into the guys, or like there's like this thing that I've talked to people about, or this person, not like an actual person, but like this kind of person that I've talked to people about, of like it's always a guy, and they are so emotionally unattached that they like, I don't know, like they just ignore and like push aside any opportunity to talk about their own emotions or hear about anyone else's emotions. Do things like they do things like, oh, if you go like, hey, like, how are you doing today, or anything, they're like, shut up, like, I don't want to. Shut up, why are you being like so sensitive, or like, you know, like that's the kind of person. There's just like a lot of people that they're just kind of like numb, and they kind of just walk through life like that, and they don't want to grow. They don't, but like it's often in those people that I see some like deep hurt and like deep trauma, or like something that they have been going through. There's a helicopter. Something that they've been going through for like years of their life, like half of their life they've been going through this thing, and they just don't know how to begin to process it, so they just don't, and they just shove it aside, and they're like, you know, oh, you know, like guys are just supposed to like not have emotions, I'm just gonna ignore this. I fear that I'm turning into that person, and I'm scared about that, because like why I hate that kind of person. I don't want to be that kind of person. I want to be in touch with my mental health. I want to be sensitive. Help, I can't. I feel like I'm not sensitive anymore. And the word sensitive has like a bad connotation, but I've really learned that it's a good thing, because I don't know, it's just something that like helps me see the world in a better way. But yeah, I don't know. So another thing that I've noticed in this last 6 months or something that I've been seeing this happen is that instead of me feeling things like sadness, happiness, joy, excitement, instead of me like feeling that kind of thing, I just like get anxious instead. And so I've noticed my like anxiety, just the amount of anxiety that I've had in the last 6 months has spiked like crazy, and which is horrible to feel, if you know what anxiety feels like, you know what I mean? Like instead of feeling sad in the moment, you know, or like angry, or I don't know, upset or emotional or connected, I feel nothing. And then a week and a half later, after doing that for like all week long and just pushing through and just like being like, I just gotta get through this day and gotta get through this meeting or this like conversation or anything, after pushing through all of those things, I just get anxious and my chest like goes crazy, and like sometimes my breathing gets all out of whack, and it's bad. Like it's just like my anxiety has gotten so much worse. I'm trying to think of an example of like a time. Can't think of any, but it's been way more regular than it was before, because I genuinely think that like therapy and stuff like really lowered my anxiety. Even though it did like have the other things where it kind of like brought up a lot of stuff, it really lowered my like day-to-day anxiety and made getting through a day easier, even if it was like I was processing through things a lot more. But yeah, that's my thing. That's what's going on. There's nothing good about this video. It's just kind of me freaking out. And I'm not actually freaking out, because guess what? Like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm feeling nothing, kind of just stating it. I'm not emotional right now. But it worries me that this is how I am right now, and I just want to feel things. Because part of me is like, I don't know, a part of me is like, who would I be if I wasn't sensitive, and if I wasn't sad, and if I wasn't melancholy, and, you know, very in touch with my emotions, able to be very sensitive towards things? Like, who am I without that? But I don't know. That's what's going on. That's what I have to say. I mean, like, I literally, like, it's so bad that I can't feel the loss of my grandma right now. And I think that's why I'm doing this video now, is because they all do connect. This is something I brought up in the video where I was explaining that I can't enjoy music anymore. And I think I was pointing towards this same thing. And I probably said in that video, I was like, I should just make a whole video about that, because that's a whole nother topic. But so here I am. But like, I don't know, it's like affecting so many things. Can't enjoy stuff the same way. And I just can't wait to be able to like watch something and cry. And I think part of it, not all of it, I think part of it is the distracted nature that I've been in. Like I said in the music one that I did, where I just am so overstimulated that I don't really give myself a chance to think. But I don't think that's the whole issue. I do think I'm kind of at a loss of where to, or how to feel things. So yeah. Any advice, let me know. Just kidding. But no, like, yeah, actually just kidding. But something I'm gonna be going through for a while now, I can tell, or like a while here. Like, I'm gonna be continuously fighting this until I get back to a state. I do think like one solution is literally just like go back to therapy and start feeling things again. But again, like, I don't think there's not like one solution to this. It's something I need to continuously work on. I don't even know where to begin. That's the crazy part. I don't know where to begin. I think I'm thinking now, like, this may have something to do with this like mindset that I've adopted this year. This kind of like grind that I've put myself on, where I've been like really pushing past the limits of myself, which has been really good. I've been very successful in that pursuit. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. At the beginning of this year, / more so at the end of last year, I you know, set goals for myself for the first time. Like, I don't do New Year's resolutions or anything. Like, I hate that kind of thing. But I did just, it was basically right after a breakup. And I set goals for myself. And I said, like, you know, it would be great is to use this, because like at the time I was like a wreck. I was a wreck. That ruined me for like the entire month of December. and like continuously on from there. But what I decided in December while I was going through it was, I said, like, you know, when I go back to California, because I was home for a little bit in Washington, I told myself, I was like, when I go back to California, I want to use these emotions that I'm feeling, and like repurpose them. Something I've learned in therapy that is possible is to repurpose emotions, and almost like divert the energy that you would be spending on, like, I don't know, being sad, going through, I mean, I was literally like, my whole like life was changing because of this breakup, you know what I mean? Like, so just like grief, mourning, like, I think I decided back in December I was going to use the energy that I would be putting towards that and put all that energy into bettering myself in a bunch of different ways, most of which are just like physical health things. Now that I'm thinking about it, almost all of those things were physical health. I was saying, like, I'm just going to really focus on myself, see a transformation, accomplish something out of this season. And I think that I may have taken that a little too seriously, went a little too hard, because like I said just now, those were all physical health things, and I wasn't really doing the things that I knew that I would think are good for my mental health specifically. Even though I will say mental and physical health are aligned like crazy. Like, objectively, for my mental health, doing all of these physical health things for myself, eating better, going on long walks every day, working out regularly, trying to fix my relationship with food in general, like in the very broad sense of like how I view things, how I know things are good for me, like fixing all of that. I know those are better for my mental health, but I didn't do anything. I didn't make a goal and say, I'm going to go back to therapy, or like, I'm going to like process this. I'm going to give myself space. I didn't give myself any space now that I think about it. I think I was saying actually that I told myself, if I have any space at all, I'm going to use it to go on a walk or go on a run or go for a workout. Like, I actually like think I denied myself space that I kind of needed at the time. I think I almost, but like that's the thing where it's like it's been successful. So I don't know what to do about that. It's like I can't have both, but I do think I can. I think I can have both eventually. I just don't know how. And I think I just want to start on a journey of rediscovering my vulnerability and my emotional health, and like just reconnecting with that, because I've been doing all these things for my physical health and they've been great for me, but like, dang, has it taken a toll on the other half, you know? So I don't know. I think I'm just thinking about that right now, and I think that would just be the best thing for me to do, is just to, I don't know, maybe I'll like look up advice, or I'll ask ChatGPT or something, like, what should I do to be more sensitive again? So I don't know. Like, I just want to cry and I can't feel anything. So yeah, I don't know what this is going to be titled, Probably something to do with like loss, and also something to do with losing track of my sensitivity. But that's my thing. Pretty negative episode, I will say. Not much positivity in here. Not much. But if you happen to be listening, thanks. Shout out Sydney, because she listens sometimes. I think a few other people know about the channel now, but I don't think anyone has subscribed. But yeah, if you're listening, go for a walk. And if you're having a shitty day, remember the sun will set, and then the sun will rise, and it will be a new day with new opportunity. And that new day will come. Also, I'm really sore, so I can't raise my arm very high. But thank you for watching. Help me, please.